Now, of course, we all know there are loads of great multiplayer games on the PlayStation 4, the likes of LittleBigPlanet 3, you can see here, and of course Skylanders and Lego Dimensions, Lego Star Wars and those big Lego games, and exuberant games like Plants vs Zombies Garden Warfare 2. But there are also a much wider range of games that will work really well for your family. So we're going to spend some time looking at the games, seeing how they work with one of our families here, and also giving you some tips on how to set these up.
I'll meet you next time. Did you see what I just did? Oh yeah!
Now, a really popular game for families is Rocket League. Now, you may think they're just on a racing challenge here, but actually what each of the family members are doing are chasing down a massive football and trying to get that into each other's goal. They're playing in 3 players here in split screen mode, so they're all playing against each other. We've got dad and daughter playing against mum, but you can play with up to 4 players locally, and you can also take that game online. Now, what starts off as a rather chaotic, just saved that goal, challenge soon becomes a real test of skill, as the family has to work together to communicate and to collaborate if they're going to get that ball into their opponent's goal. It's something which grows with you, and the more time you spend with the game, the more proficient you get at it, the more fun you'll have. You can even up the sides by teaming up with the best players, with maybe the youngest members of the family. There you go, I think someone scored. I think it looks like it's mum. But there's a lot of fun to have here, so even if you're not completely in control, even if you're not scoring lots of goals, you can have a lot of fun just by racing around and of course bashing into each other like the Thompsons are doing here. So if you're looking for a game you can play together, split screen on your PlayStation 4, it's really easy to set up and you can have an awful lot of fun.
Yes, I won! Mama, please do this.
Another great game for families is SportsFriends. This comprises a collection of alternative sports challenges in the family, usually played in shared or split screen mode, so up to 4 of you can grab a controller. There are some real standout games here. We're going to play Pole Riders today, but previously on the channel we've looked at the game Joust that uses the Move controllers to create a sort of a tag team game in the room away from the screen. That creates a really nice alternative experience that all members and all ages of the families can get involved with. And the same here with Pole Riders. You can see we've got our young competitor here, Sephi, taking on Dad, and the aim of the game is to try and get that ball to the target of your opponent's string. But of course you don't just do that simply, you have to use these bendy poles, and the controls here take a little while to get used to but are really intuitive. So with one stick to control your movement and the other stick to control your pole, you can pull off all sorts of different moves. You can attack the other player, you can go straight for the pole, you can try and do pole vaulting moves to fly yourself into it like Sephi did, and it creates a real sort of raucous, fun competition in the family, and there's a real sense of joy to this, and it's a game that you can't play on any other consoles. Like all the games we're looking at here, it's not only a bit of fun, a sort of throwaway, something that you're going to not play for very long, but as we found with our families, the more you play with it, the more proficient you get at the controls and the more competitive it gets. So the more you put into Pole Riders, the more you get out of it. And it was a real success with our test family here, and we played for a number of hours. Another great multiplayer game for families is Stikbold on PlayStation 4. Now this is a little bit like dodgeball, played in an arena. You can play team versus team, or you can play all against all. You hop in and you pick your characters, and then you're dropped into this kind of fantastical cartoon world where you have to try and get that little pink ball and throw it at your other family members. If you hit them, then you get some scores, but it goes further than that because there's all sorts of things you can pick up in the arena. You can also tackle each other, there's a charge mode, you can stun people, there's hot dogs to pick up and throw at each other. But what really works here is just the raucous level of fun of being able to be in an arena and basically have a good old scrap against mum, dad, daughters and sons. We had a load of fun. Some of the games, it takes a little while to get going, but with Stikbold, the family were in and laughing and playing and really just loving the game right from the off. And as you can see, various ages, various abilities with the PlayStation 4, but they're all easily able to jump in and get started and really battle each other to try and get those hits and score points and come away as the victor.
Oh, I've done it! Yes!
I need to win this time. I need to win.
Right, Rosie.
Another great multiplayer game for families is Towerfall. Now here you have 4 different players. You all play on the same screen. Here they're just picking their characters. Once you've got that, you drop into these dungeons and you have various collectibles and various weapons to try and combat the other players that you're fighting against. Each person controls one player with their controller, and you can see it's nicely colour-coded so you know who is who. When the game starts, you are then trying to take down the other members of your family any way you can. Now you can do that by shooting arrows at each other. You can do that by getting close up and having some close hand-to-hand combat. You can try and jump on each other's heads there. And it's just really a nice bit of chaotic, competitive fun. But again, there's a lot of skill involved here. Something to notice is when you fire the arrows, you only have a certain number, and you have to then go and collect them if you want to get back into shooting at your opponents. You have to judge the shooting of the angle so that you get the trajectory right. There are also a bunch of chests that you can open for special power-ups. You can get wings that let you fly. The game changes through different periods. There is different levels to play on, and some of the elements in the space you can interact with. At certain times in the game it goes dark, so you can't see the platforms around you, and you have to try and remember where the different levels were so you can get across and tackle each other. And it's just a lot of fun. As you can see, the family really warmed to this very quickly, but it was one that we stuck with. So while it was quick to play, it took a real amount of time to master, and both Mum and Dad here, you can see, getting really competitive and wanting to come out the winner. As you play through the different levels, the game keeps tabs on who has got the most wins in a particular session, and the one to get the final win then comes away the victor.
Yes!
Now another great multiplayer family game on PS4 is Tricky Towers. We've looked at this previously. It's a little bit like Tetris, but it's got these real-time physics. So not only do you have to match up the shapes of your blocks as they're falling down, but you also have to think about the stacking of your tower. It's a little bit like a cross between Jenga and that classic Tetris video game. For families this works really well, because not only does it mean parents who've grown up playing Tetris will instantly understand how to play, but at the same time, kids, siblings, brothers and sisters of all ages can get in and compete, because it's 4 players. Everyone's playing against everyone else. It's a lot of fun, and as you can see here, the competitiveness is a real draw. And it works in the family because really anyone who's playing, if they pay attention to the screen, if they balance their bricks really well, has a good chance of winning.
Yes! Danny's still got it. Come on.
Rematch.
Rounding off with something which is considered more of a mainstream game, which is Rayman Legends. But actually this works really well in multiplayer mode in families, because each player plays on the screen at the same time and has to collaborate to get through the different platforming challenges. As you can see, it's a beautiful cartoon game in a fantasy world, and each of the players picks their character and interacts with the environment as they go, but you soon realise you need to work together if you're going to progress well, and the family enjoyed that collaboration challenge. So whereas many of the other multiplayer games we've looked at today have been competitive, this is one that you have to be collaborative. You're working together to get to the end of the level to defeat the various enemies. What was nice here was that members of the family with different abilities and different experience with the game each brought something different to the party. So whereas Dad maybe had more of an idea of how you progress, Mum and daughter, siblings could then get involved and play along as well, and contribute to the fighting and the battling element of the game as they progressed through the different platforms and unlock more chapters of this big unfolding story. Now there's a real sense of variety here. You can see we've come into sort of a dungeon level, and the players are working together here to try and get past these ghosts that are jumping up. If they touch them, they lose a life, and so they have to make sure that someone stays alive so the others can then join them back in. You can float along to rejoin the family, as you can see there, and then pop your bubble and you can carry on. So if you're stuck on a particular level, the more experienced players can then help along those who are struggling or those who are newer to this sort of game. There's lots of different interactions, so it's not just fighting and button mashing, but you have to be careful about what buttons you press when, because that interacts with the different platforms, the different levers there in the environment. So you do that so that you can progress as a team, and you have to look after the team as a whole so that you get to the end of the level and you make it through to that final castle.
Oh, sorry! I just smacked you both into it.
Now, as we promised, we're going to show you how to set up the games today. All of them are available to download from the PlayStation Store. So if you just hop in here, go to games and then pop up to the top and you can have a search for the particular title you want to play. So let's look at Rocket League. So if we hop down, pop in Rocket League, you find the game you want, but pick the right version of it, whether you want Game of the Year edition, check the prices, click download, and then it will appear in your media bar on the homepage of your PlayStation 4. Click to launch that game and it will start up straight away, and then you can hop into the menus. Now, Rocket League is a game that you can play either online or locally. If you're going to play locally, get another player logged in. So press the PlayStation button on the controller and then pick the user. You're then in the lobby ready to play. You can go and look at the different options. If we hop into Exhibition, there's different sorts of game modes you can play in Rocket League, from a kind of a basketball style approach to a more of a standard football. You can pick the arena and the stadium, and also how many players. Now, how many you'll be playing within your family may determine the team size. Carefully set the bot difficulty. If you're new to Rocket League, don't set that as pro, but get that down to rookie. But this is important. Before you start the match, press the options button on your PlayStation controller of the second player, and then he will be in the lobby ready to play this actual game. Rocket League will then load, and you can then pick some final settings on the game. Most importantly, which team you're going to be in. Of course, if you're doing a 1 versus 1 match, it's important that you pick the opposite sides. Now, depending on the game type, it will then start. So you may be playing with each other. If you picked 2 versus 2 and there's only 2 players, it will add in robot opponents to collaborate with you. Or perhaps you can go dad and daughter against sort of robot competitors. Once you've got proficient at this, of course you can take it online and play there too. But as we leave the Thompson family enjoying some more time with Rocket League, I hope that was helpful. As you can see, these are the games that we've recommended as multiplayer local games you can play in the sitting room with your family. Have lots of fun on your PlayStation 4. But of course there are many more. So do let us know in the comments which of these games are working for you. Which games do you think we should look at next? Or perhaps there's ones that we've missed that you think is absolutely important, that if a family has got their PlayStation 4, this is the game they shouldn't miss out on. Keep an eye on the channel because we're going to publish the full gameplays of each of the games we've played in this video, so you can see how the family got on with that game in long form. We'll also be back with lots of other videos partnering with PlayStation 4 to help you and your family get the most out of your console.
Yes, I won! Mum, what piece did you use?